Hey everybody, welcome back to 12 Days of PODMAS. I'm your host Maxine. We're on PODMAS episode 11. We are nearing the end of PODMAS season 2024. This has been a great season. I'm really excited about what I have delivered to you all, and I'm just happy with the incoming new subscribers. Y'all are amazing. We finally reached the 300 subscriber mark, and I am so grateful. It's every little milestone I am appreciating. So, to some, that may be little, but to me, that's big because, again, as I said before, I was once at, as was a lot of other channels, of course. You don't just start off with 100,000 with 100,000 subscribers, but I was at 12 for a period of time. That was primarily because I wasn't really trying to push anything out. I was kind of nervous to be seen. And since I've taken my YouTube channel more seriously, it's just been amazing seeing the growth and seeing the subscribers, the supporters, and those who are really engaged with my content. So thank you to you all. If you have subscribed recently, if you have been an OG subscriber, I appreciate it. That is your way of supporting this grassroots podcast. So let's go ahead and get started with today's PODMAS episode. I want to get into cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. So she is this young woman. I don't know how old she is, but she looks like she's probably in her early 20s, a very young woman, Black woman. And she is known for her cooking videos that she puts on social media. Now, I was not familiar with her until recently because of, I guess there was a viral X tape tape that got leaked by her boyfriend, I believe. Maybe they had a nasty breakup, and that was the result of that nasty breakup, which is pretty whack if you ask me. But I don't know the details about that. And I was trying to find the leak tape. To be honest, I like to find for research purposes, but I couldn't find it. I could not find it, even though typically I find a lot of things that I am looking for because X and Reddit are great research tools, but I couldn't find her tape. Whatever. She's a pretty girl, and apparently she's getting a lot of hate from Black women. Black women in particular are the ones who is hating on her, and while at the same time Black men are praising her. And from what I'm gathering, the reason behind that is she is catering to Black men. I guess she's appearing as a quote unquote pick me. Y'all know how I hate about that stupid ass label, because it's so lazy, when you don't agree with the typical girl mindset, or if you're not a girl's girl, whatever that BS is, if you call girls out and hold them accountable just as you would anyone else, but because you're a woman, you're supposed to have this blind allegiance to other women. I've never followed suit with that. Maybe that's why I don't have a lot of female friends. Maybe that's why I'm just more of a loner. And I realize female friends who I thought were my friends really are not. Right. So I've always just been that way. I've always had a small group of friends. And by small, I mean like really one or two people who I would call friends, and vice versa. And I think that's something I could go, that's a whole rant. But anyway, you just kind of realize, oh, we weren't really friends. Or, oh, we were just like surface friends. That's why I'm so big on the word friend. And I'm now realizing the difference between friend, associate, acquaintance, even more. And I think in this society, it's especially with social media, it has become so normalized to call everybody in your life your friend, when that's not the case. Not everyone in your life is a friend of yours, especially if you're not invited to their birthday shindig and you realize, oh, I guess we're not really close. Anyway, where did I go with that? The point is, pick me is a term that is used quite often to describe women as I've described, right? And I'm sure, I think I've been called that in the comments before from previous videos, whatever. I am realizing that, again, that is a lazy terminology people will use, other women will use against other women if they're not just blindly following that woman, or if they feel like that woman is male identified or male centered, all these like stupid ass terms that people just be making up and running with. It's triggering. It's triggering. Anyway, this woman here, Cooking with Kaya, she is getting a lot of slack. Is it slack or flack? I always get that. Am I using it right? Okay, flack means a publicity agent. Okay, no, I guess I'm saying slack, right? Yeah. Okay. She's getting a lot of slack for having content to cater to men. And I haven't really watched her. I didn't know anything about her. But from what I could gather, it seems like her cooking videos are about, here's how to please your man. You should be cooking this for your man. Cater to your man. Let me cater to you type of vibe. And a lot of Black men have been praising her publicly on social media because of this pursuit that she has in her cooking videos. So suddenly her leaked video of intimacy got out, and she's catching a lot of backlash for it. I don't see what the issue is as far as her having content to uplift Black men, or maybe her Black man at the time. I don't know if she's in a new relationship, and maybe that was her ex-boyfriend who leaked that video of them together. But I just find it interesting because you have the rhetoric of Black women online talking about Black women are the least respected. What did Malcolm X say? Black women are the least respected. Black women are the least revered groups of people in America, and got all this woe is me victim ass mindset, when that same rhetoric is being driven through by those same Black women against other Black women. And when you have a Black man or several Black men uplifting another Black woman for her efforts in praising Black men in her life, then, oh, I'm gonna shit on that Black woman because how dare you? How dare you create content for the upliftment and the fulfillment of the ego of the man, of the Black man at that. So it's just so silly to me. I just want to read this tweet here by this user. Here's the thing about anyone who leaked a sex tape of Cooking with Kaya. You didn't hurt her at all. Brothers, don't hold that goofball shit against a woman. You OnlyFans thought spread ego willingly in publicly on your own. You are the ones we don't respect. And that's the point that he's making here, that there's a difference between having an intimate tape leaked of you with your man, right? With your partner whom you have shared your life with for a considerable amount of time, and a woman who's having multiple partners, hence Lily Phillips, whom you don't have an intimate relationship with, whom you're not bonded to in a deeper level, and whom you're making money off of because it's being promoted on a platform such as OnlyFans. So this leaked tape is being used against her, is being weaponized against her by, I guess, Black women in particular, according to what I'm gathering on this story. And again, I just find that to be laughable or just strange, because why is this Black woman getting so much hate? Because, oh, she likes to cook for her man, for her Black man? Like, what's the issue here? So again, I'm trying to see what else is the conversation here about it. But again, what I'm seeing a lot of people are waking up to this and they're feeling upset about it as well. Like the irony, right? You know, you have black men supporting this black woman, Kaya, and a lot of the rhetoric that people are calling out to be hypocrisy is black women would typically call out black men for not praising, for not dating, for not being with black women, yet they are getting mad at black men for praising Kaya. Right? So it's like this meme right here, as I'm showing it on the screen. Again, make sure you are watching this on YouTube as you're listening to me. That is your way of supporting this grassroots podcast. Black women, you see this host here. He has a an armed weapon and he shoots the guest and the guest is labeled black women, and he turns around and he says, why would black men do this when he's supposed to act like the black woman here? If you guys get what I mean. But nonetheless, this trend with cooking with Kaya is taking a lot of black women by storm on social media. They're promoting themselves cooking for their man and sharing this content. And I think again, this has shredded the feminist movement. This has shredded the intention to disrespect women who choose to be domestic, women who choose to cater and be traditional with their man. So a lot of women who are more of the feminist, liberal, leftist mindset, they're mad at Kaya for perpetuating this stereotypical or misogynistic point of view and just overall mindset of how a woman should be. So let's watch this clip here. Real bad bitches know how to cook. Cooking with Maya. I be shaking up, you know? Cooking with Maya. Cooking with Maya. Cooking with Taryn. Tasting meals with Taryn. Cooking with Ashley. God damn it! You can't make this shit up. Shout out to Kevin Samuels. So yeah, let's take a listen to what this woman says here.
Cooking with Kaya is just another example that y'all ain't really girls. And I just love how y'all keep exposing y'allself that the girls thing ain't real. I've been saying the girls thing wasn't real for a long time, and everybody thought that I was just being mean. But now everybody's finally getting to see that I wasn't being mean. I was being honest. It's not real. Y'all are mad, and I'm going to say jealous at the fact that there's a bunch of men making videos talking about how attractive this Cooking with Kaya girl is. And she is a nice looking girl with a nice natural body. And y'all are sitting up talking about, I don't get the hype. I don't get the hype. Let me sit you down and look you in your face when I tell you this. It's not for you to get the hype. It's not for you, right? If men are getting online and saying that they find her to be attractive, you questioning why they find her attractive is weird. These men keep telling y'all that they like natural women. They want a naturally attractive girl with a nice fit body. She fits all of that. She got a nice natural face. She got a nice natural body. Right. But y'all are so hung up and so brainwashed by these BBL outrageous
BBL Jizzy
proportioned bodies that you just find it so hard to believe that men could just like a natural fit body. Like you can't fathom that because you're so brainwashed that you think that that out of proportion body is what everybody want because that's what you want. That's what you think look good, right? You think all that makeup with them bust down wigs is what everybody want because that's what you like, right? You like that Jada way to look. You like that Ari look. So you assume that that's what every man must fantasize about. No, it's not. It's not. And they keep telling y'all that. But again, because y'all are still so silly and stupid that you keep mixing in what men like to sleep with, what men lust after versus what men actually like. Because you still can't separate that in 2024. You still keep defaulting to this BBL bust down Instagram baddie look as being every man's dream. And it's not, it's your dream. You want to look like those girls. You want to be those girls, and you're projecting.
And I mean, I can't say better than that. I think she did a great job articulating the point that's being made here. There's no such thing as women's empowerment. It's a farce. It's a farce. Stop going to those conferences. Stop going to those luncheons about women supporting women. Fuck women. I mean, hear what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. Okay, a lot, and that's what, and this speaks to my point earlier of why I don't have a lot of female friends, like for real, because a lot of times it's some fake fugazi shiznai. A lot of times you think it's one way and then it's not. A lot of times it's just not a deep relationship. It's a lot of sizing up, undercover jealousy, undercover hate, or just comparison Olympics. It's just a lot of times women, we're bred to be competitive with each other. And it's a harsh reality to face. And until you become that woman who recognizes your faults, who recognizes your just who has self-awareness, then you could do better, and then you could genuinely be happy for another woman. But if it's more about opportunity, what I see a lot of friends around my age who are friends with, quote unquote, friends with other women because of opportunity, because of what that other woman could bring into their life. Maybe this woman has clout. Maybe this one woman is a socialite and I want to get in the scene. Maybe this woman has money and I want to be around people who has money, and it's a lot of like surface level things. And people are so quick to say, I love you, girl. I love you, girl. What? Just like things like that. It just makes me feel more comfortable being with myself. With myself. I say that on purpose, not by myself. I'm with myself. So again, I think real friends come in lesser numbers. Like true real friends, those who you could really count on, and it's a mutual feeling rather than just a one-sided thing. I think it's less than it is more. So, regardless of what you see online of girls supporting girls, women's empowerment, having a big table of female friends, and thinking that everyone's is so fucking close. It's not it. It's not it. And I've called that out since I was young, which is why I've always stayed with a very small number of people around me, and which is why I've always pretty much been more male identified, if you want to put it that way. I've always found myself more connected with men than I do women. And if I do have female friends, which I do, but like it's typically at a very like it's less than the 5 fingers on this hand because I got 6 fingers on this hand. No, but seriously, that's you get older and you realize, not even get older. A lot of people get older, but I've noticed it since I was young. People are fake. People are fake. A lot of people are most of the time. So when you find someone who's real, hold on to that. Anyway, I know that sounds kind of negative, but I like what she said here. It's just fake. Women empowerment is fake. Don't talk to me anything about women empowerment. What about the other? Shut up. Shut up. You don't even like your mom. Shut up. Okay, let's get into Jaleel White, aka Steve Urkel. I know he hates being recognized as such. But he will always be Steve Urkel. He hasn't had another role that made him just as popular or popular for a new generation. It's always gonna be Steve Urkel. Cut it out. You know how with Tia Mowry, we know her for two things. Her name was Tia on Sister Sister, so her real name. So Sister Sister, and her role as Mel, or Med School Mel from The Game, and that's it. Jaleel White, there, I can't recall if he played another famous role, and if I can't recall it, that means it didn't happen. So anyway, he is on a book promo tour. He is trying to promote this book by any means necessary, and whilst doing so, he is ruffling a couple of feathers around him. He's getting a lot of backlash for some comments he made recently. Comments about how the show that he was a star in, Family Matters, was not or is typically not ranked as high on the list when discussing favorite Black TV shows or TV sitcoms. And his reasoning for that is he believes people don't revere Family Matters as much as they should, because Family Matters is not a hood story. It's not a story that talks about the riches or like rags to riches. It's more of a, well put together family. And that is his reasoning why Family Matters doesn't get the praise or the recognition that he feels it deserves. And I think he's not I don't know. I don't think he has it on the money here. I don't think it matters whether or not it was a hood show or not. Like, Martin wasn't a hood show, yet it has the reverence as it should. The Cosby Show isn't a hood show, but yet it has, so like, I don't get the point that he's making here. It doesn't correlate in my head. And apparently with Steve Urkel, he hasn't had a lot of good things said about him from his time on the show. Apparently, a lot of his co-stars didn't appreciate his attitude and his egotistical ways while they were filming this show. He got big-headed, understandably so, I guess, because of his main character being the main character of the show. And he has let that get in the way of being a good person, I guess, or being seen as someone who's nice enough to be just recognized or honored or whatever. Nonetheless, he feels like he is entitled to be this main character because apparently Steve Urkel, the character, was supposed to be only on the show for one episode. But his character won fans so well that it turned into a main cast member of Family Matters. And with that brought so much fame and so much notoriety to Family Matters. So as he is promoting his book, he is discussing that. He's saying how specifically, Blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. He says, quote, "If it's not a hood story, it's not a Black story. And sometimes I feel left out of that. If there's ever a poll and they say, what are your favorite Black shows? He says, if Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those kind of shows, I already know where Family Matters coming in last." Okay. He says, in comparison, he added that if there was a general ranking for family shows and Martin wasn't included, then all of a sudden Family Matters would then rank really high. Jaleel said that was an interesting reflection of how Black people view themselves. Like, what? What are you talking about? It never needed to be a hood story to be a good story that centers Black people. And just like he said here, the shows that he's referencing, Living Single, Martin, um, what else? I'm gonna add the Cosby Show. Not one of those shows center the story of from hood to riches or just hood stories at all. Like, I don't think it was any reference of hood life in any of those shows. So I don't understand why he's making that correlation. There is none. There is none. With Living Single, you have working class young people living together or living near each other in the same complex or right across, aka Max. And that was, just life and dynamics of that. Khadijah running her own magazine firm and all these, like, I just don't understand what he's saying here. I just think he's trying to find an excuse. Trying to find an excuse. Family Matters was a good show. It was. But if you compare it to those other shows, it didn't stand tall enough for me, at least. Maybe to some other people it does. Clearly it doesn't, according to what he's saying here as well. But it's not a bad show. And I feel like he wants to have more praise or more recognition when it doesn't have to, like, it doesn't have to be like, whatever. Like, people see things differently, and just because your show is not seen as the top show doesn't mean it wasn't a good show. Again, with this hood comment, it struck a nerve with a lot of people online. Some people even reference how Jaleel played a gang member on the show, and this character's name was Original Gangsta Dog. And multiple episodes and storylines on Family Matters did include gang activity. So he's actually contradicting himself, because apparently Family Matters did create space to have hood topics. So what is he talking about here, right? I guess he forgot. Maybe he felt like it wasn't too hood or, not hood enough. This person tweeted, "The Cosby Show was about a family led by a doctor and a lawyer. Martin was about a radio host who literally roasted his best friend by accusing him of not having a job. Living Single was about single middle-class Black friends. A Different World was about Black college students. Maybe he misheard people say Family Matters wasn't as good as those other shows." And that's what I'm saying here. Like, I think I think he's shooting himself down more than he needs to. And maybe it's some narcissism, that's like the top word to say to describe people as. But I don't think Family Matters was a bad show. And I feel like just because it's not ranked higher than Martin or The Cosby Show or Living Single or A Different World doesn't mean it wasn't a good show. I personally prefer those other shows more than I do Family Matters. But again, I enjoyed Family Matters for what it was, what it is. It still is a show. I mean, it's not still running, but you could still watch it if you wanted to. But the point is, I think Jaleel White, he wants to get more attention or more praise. And obviously this is working enough because he is on this promo book tour and he's trying to sell his book. So who knows how that will turn out. He apparently does not want to do a reboot for Family Matters. He feels like it's not necessary. And I think a lot of his former cast members did not want to give him the attention that he needed or to give him just better praise for the moment. Let's take a listen to what he's saying here.
Done. Somewhere around 2013, 2014, I was approached by one of our former producers that Netflix had interest in doing a reboot of Family Matters. On the heels of Fuller House having done so well, And that didn't make any sense to me. I didn't feel that it was right for us to have to copy what Full House had done to fit inside someone's business model, to capture the magic that made our show make sense. What I imagine for any reboot effort would be inspired by what really happened. How Family Matters came to pass is actually a greater story than what was made up inside the show. Going onto a show that was never intended for me to be the star of, making it last for 9 years, growing up on a studio lot and in public school at the same time, that to me was the greater story that needed to be told for today. When I pitched that to one of my former executive producers, all he had to say to me was, Jaleel, nobody's interested in your memoirs. But here we are 12 years later, and I think there's some people that might be interested in those memoirs.
Okay, well, I think he's trying to give like the Michael Jackson appeal here, or some type of 80s album cover appeal. I don't know. Steve Urkel, calm down. Steve Urkel, relax. We're not saying Family Matters wasn't a good show, but personally, I would rather watch a marathon of A Different World than of Family Matters. And I have done so with A Different World. I have watched marathons of that show for like a good chunk of my younger years. I remember learning about the show when I like several years ago at this point. And I was like, oh my gosh, this show was amazing. I love the episode with Tupac and Jada. And honestly, the whole show, the essence of it, the messaging of A Different World, such a positive story, message, point. It just was good TV, and I will still watch it to this day. It was just on TV One on a marathon loop, on a loop for quite some time, and I'm like, let me watch it, and I love it. I remember even referencing one of the episodes while I was an adjunct professor years ago at a community college back home in Boston. Shout out to Bunker Hill Community College. And I used that as part of my lesson. It went really, really well. I forgot what was the objective of that lesson though, but it made sense. It made sense. Anyway, Jaleel White, just be grateful that we know how to identify you. Be grateful that you are a staple figure in a lot of people's household, damn near everyone's household. Just be grateful for that. And I hope your book does well. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you are subscribed. You are sharing this video, sharing this podcast with a friend. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Leave a positive review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and engage in the comments on YouTube. Thank you so much. And I will see y'all tomorrow for the last day of PODMAS. Goodbye.